Live from the WPAA studios in Wallingford, Connecticut, and streaming live worldwide on the web at WPAA.tv. Welcome to the OpenMike TV show. I'm your host, Michael Cuomo. Welcome along on this Wednesday evening, October 17th, 2012. I have another jam-packed show to get to, and as always, the number to call in, 203-265-6310. And a new thing we're going to have on this week, ladies and gentlemen, a new feature is on the bottom of the screen. As you can see, we have two different avenues for you to check out in order to contact and become fans of the Open Mike Show. One of them is facebook.com/OpenMikeTV. And you can also check out the weekly episodes of Open Mike, which are being uploaded to YouTube. And there's the address, youtube.com/OpenMike80. So I encourage you to check out both of those websites, in addition to WPAA.tv, where you can watch this show now live worldwide. And you could also watch the replays on WPAA.tv. So there's no excuse for you to not be able to check out Open Mike. And as I said a couple weeks ago when Michael Buckley was on, you could watch this show in Brantford or Bangkok because of the WPAA streaming live on the web. So very excited about it. We're going to leave it on the screen. We'll try it out tonight just to promote it. And the number again is on the screen as well, so give me a call. Want to make another announcement in case you've been on my Facebook page, and obviously if you watched last week, next Wednesday night, which would be October 24th, live here on the Open Mic set will be my special guest. He is the Republican State Representative in the 85th District candidate, and that is Mr. Greg Bashand, who will be going against the incumbent Mary Mashinsky, which is going to be less than 3 weeks away, is Election Day, 3 weeks from yesterday, believe it or not. So, Greg Bashand will be joining me live here next Wednesday night. You know, a lot of times I always say to people that local politics play more of a bigger role in your everyday life than national politics. So it's important to get involved with local political matters and be educated about it. And I would encourage you to call in next week. I'm going to ask Greg the important, hard questions that you people, the viewer, want answers to. And that's what it's all about. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to ask him why we should vote him into office when Mary Mashinsky has been in office since the Jimmy Carter days, which has been over 30 years. And I want to know what he's going to bring to the table that's different from her, and why is his plan and his agenda better than Mary Mashinsky's plan. So we'll get to some of the core questions and values that he believes in, and hopefully he'll shed some light on these answers for you next Wednesday. So we're excited to have Greg on, and then the following Wednesday night, believe it or not, is our annual Halloween show, the 31st of October. With much consideration last week with the many calls and the feedback as to what type of costume I should wear, and I appreciate all the comments and suggestions, I have decided, and I have picked out a Halloween, excuse me, not Hollywood, but Halloween costume, which I will not shed any light on, but I will say will be very, very par for the course. It'll be very appropriate for the night, given the time of year that we're in, and that's the only hint I can give you. So be sure to watch the Halloween show in 2 weeks. It'll be great. Finally, I want to get to a trivia question. We've been doing a poll question, which we had last week, which had to do with the Halloween costume. Why do I keep saying Hollywood? I can't get it off my tongue. However, tonight we have a trivia question. And this trivia question is something to do with Wallingford, something to do with politics. It is, who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor? Who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor? Now, if you recall, a couple months ago, I had a question similar in content where it was, who was the mayor that preceded Mayor Dickinson? And I recall Backfeed Bob answering that question right away. It was Mayor Rocco Vambaco. However, this question is a little different because we're going back further in time, and it's who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor? If you know the question, or if you know the answer, give me a call, 203-265-6310. And as a free, nice gesture, you can get one of these OpenMike coffee mugs delivered to your house, or you can pick it up here at the studio, whatever you'd like. And the only thing is, the only stipulation is if you were a past winner of an OpenMike mug, unfortunately, we can't give you another one. So hopefully we get a different person to answer the question of who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor. So if you know the answer, give me a call, 203-265-6310. With that being said, I want to get to, I guess we'll start with, I was going to go into local news, but something's telling me let's start with national news. Let's start with the presidential debate last night. How about that? Let's get to this whole Obamacare and Romney and all this good stuff last night. In case you missed it, we had the second of 3 presidential debates, which was held last night at Hofstra University. Again, as I mentioned, the election is less than 3 weeks away. And in watching the debate last night, I was very intrigued by it. I personally thought Obama did much better in this debate than the first debate. However, Romney did just as well as he did in his first debate, if not better. So the point that I'm trying to say is I think Romney, after 2 debates, has a slight edge over Obama in his debate presentation and his attack on Obama and his policies. And I think, especially this whole Benzagi, attack with Chris Stevens and the 4 Americans that died, I think Romney certainly had Obama against the ropes last night. And I thought Obama would come out swinging to really defend his, case. But it appeared that he was not really, willing to address it, but rather sugarcoat it and maybe move on to the next question. So I think overall it was a great debate. It almost looked at one point that, and in case you watched it and you saw this, call me to give me your side of the story, but it almost looked like these 2 guys were going to come to blows at about halfway through the debate, when there was a lot of interrupting one another, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of saying this isn't true, what you're saying is incorrect, it's false. The other guy saying, no, it is true. The record speaks for itself. The numbers don't lie. And it got very heated where it appeared that there might have been a physical confrontation. Now, we aren't some foreign country where this is normal. I know in Japan or, Indonesia or wherever they have elections that sometimes get very heated, there's been videos showing the 2 candidates, duking it out, which we certainly would never really see here in America, but I could be wrong. But if you saw the debate, if you watched it, and if you watched the first debate, and you have any feedback as to who you think won last night's debate, and maybe if you want to even mention who you're voting for, maybe you're still undecided. Maybe you've made up your mind after watching last night's debate. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. It is that time of year. People say, well, you shouldn't talk about 2 things with others. You shouldn't bring up politics and religion. But I say that, this is the election time of year. It's the political time of year. So I will bring up politics and religion. Well, we can save that for another show. But I want you to call in. I want you to tell me, are you still undecided? Do you know who you're going to vote for? You don't have to tell me who you're voting for. Has anything changed your mind since watching the debates, or did you know going into the debates who you were going to vote for anyway? And just for the record, I know there's been rumors out there that I was running on a third-party ticket, but that's not true. As much as I'd hate to admit that, but possibly down the road, we can see a President Cuomo. I mean, my family's already the the governor of New York, and that's Andrew, and Uncle Mario ran New York many years ago as governor, so it runs in my blood. I might have a political future, right? Producer Pat, yeah, he's nodding his head. All right, anyway, so give me a call. Now, speaking of politics, I want to quickly mention Ross Perot. Ross Perot, who was I think it was, 1992? He was the third-party candidate. I don't know if he was running as an independent. He was running as an independent. He's a Texas billionaire, oil tycoon. Ross Perot came out yesterday and endorsed Mitt Romney for president. So, and Billy Graham, the evangelical icon Billy Graham, met with Mitt Romney a few days ago at his house in North Carolina and asked Mitt Romney, what can I do to help you win the presidency? And Mitt Romney told him, just pray for me. And a lot of people, like the Glenn Becks and the Sean Hannity, said that was a very historical meeting between Billy Graham and Mitt Romney. It was very, it kind of brought everything together, where I think it kind of cemented, Romney's chances, because now he has Billy Graham. He's got the prayers on his side. He's maybe now appealing to some of these conservative, Christians down in the southern part of the U.S. And it might end up, I was thinking up until a couple weeks ago that Obama was easily going to win this. And not that I'm voting for him, I'm just saying I thought he was going to win it. I'm now thinking that I would not be surprised at all if we had President Romney in 3 weeks. That's my take. Next debate is October 22nd, which would be Monday, down in Boca Raton, Florida. And possibly whoever wins that debate's going to win it all. So we shall see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on. Let's move on from the political thing now. It's starting to even put me to sleep. Let's talk about something a little spicy. All right? We all like that. This Hulk Hogan sex tape. In case you haven't heard about it, I was doing some research on it. And Hulk Hogan is suing a website called Gawker, Gawker, along with Bubba the Love Sponge, who I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I think he's a radio icon similar to Howard Stern. Anyway, it's amazing. I grew up, admiring Hulk Hogan, and now I'm wondering what the heck is this guy doing? But Hulk Hogan was secretly videotaped in his best friend, which is Bubba the Love Sponge, in Bubba the Love Sponge's bedroom. And Hulk Hogan was secretly videotaped having sex with Bubba's wife. Her name is Heather Clem. Now, Heather knew about this. Bubba the Love Sponge knew about this. The only person that didn't know, who was out of the loop, was Hulk Hogan. And the tape shows the two of them being intimate. And basically, Hulk Hogan now is out to sue this website along with Bubba the Love Sponge for infringement, privacy, invasion of his privacy. I think the numbers that I saw were $100 million is what he's trying to recoup. And Bubba the Love Sponge was somehow secretly heard, or somehow was known to have said to his wife that this would be their ticket to an early retirement. And I'm kind of paraphrasing. But if this video became public and became viral and they sold this video, the money that they would make on this sex tape would basically secure their financial freedom and their financial future, and basically enable them to retire instantly. And that's basically the whole gist of the story. I believe at the time, Bubba the Love Sponge was still married to Heather Clem, but Hulk Hogan, I believe, was divorced from his wife. I forgot her name. But it's just a bizarre, these two guys were best friends, and basically this guy, Bubba the Love Sponge, basically handed his wife over to Hulk Hogan and said, do what you want. Go for it. go for it, brother. You know, and after watching this this little sex tape, I can definitely tell you that it gives a whole new meaning to the pythons. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's now move on from politics, sex tapes. I want to now move on to a very cool story, made national news, world news, as a matter of fact. This past Sunday, I don't know if anyone saw it. A Austrian skydiver, Felix Baumgartner, can't read my own writing. He jumped from a space capsule, 39 kilometers up in space, jumped out of this space capsule down to the Earth. I think it was down in Arizona. Broke a world record. He was traveling at speeds more than 800 miles per hour, which is almost twice as fast as a Boeing 747. So 39 kilometers, I can't do the math as to how many miles that is right now, but he did break a world record, and it was quite cool to see him just jump off. And you see this little, looks like a little light just kind of falling as they were videotaping this from space. And once he landed, I mean, he had a perfect landing, actually. He didn't fall or anything. It was a nice, gentle landing. Parachute came out. It was a great landing. Mom and all his family were ecstatic that he was safe, and everyone at NASA was happy. It was almost like a space shuttle landing and not having any problems. So it was quite a cool scene. So let's see what else I have here in the national news. Oh yeah, last thing I want to touch up on, that I haven't really talked about this, but I think I want to address it now, seeing how much of a epidemic it could possibly become. And what I'm alluding to is the national meningitis crisis that is happening right now. Right now it's the total number of cases of infected people is up to 231 people. The total number of deaths so far attributed to this outbreak, 15 people have died. And possible cause from this meningitis outbreak is from tainted vials of steroid medication. So scary stuff, you know. You don't really hear about this much anymore. It's kind of a dated, crisis, but it's now back at the current forefront of our news, and I figured I would address it. So that's all I have in the national news. We'll move on to local news now. Before we do, I want to again mention next Wednesday night, please mark your calendars down for my special guest, Mr. Greg Bashand, who is running against Mary Mashinsky for the 85th District State Representative seat. And Mary's been in office quite some time. She is the Democratic incumbent going against Greg Bashand. So I'm very excited to have Greg on next week to discuss his political agenda, his issues, his topics, and see where he differs from Mary. Maybe they see eye to eye on some issues. And so anyway, mark that down for next Wednesday night. And then the following Wednesday, the 31st, is the all-important annual Halloween show. So 2 important open mic episodes. I mean, actually, they're all important, but these next 2 are very important, so I hope you can watch them. Again, if I can address your attention to the screen on the bottom there, Facebook.com/OpenMikeTV will bring you to the Facebook page, and YouTube.com/OpenMike80. And on that, you can find the most recent shows uploaded. We also have some older shows. We just had some shows up there with, if you recall, we had back in February Garrett Argianis, the weatherman from Channel 4, NBC Connecticut. He's up on YouTube. We had Senator Len Fasano, who is a Republican state senator. He was on in February, and his episode is up. And the last one was Mike Stevens from WDRC-FM 102.9 Radio Morning Show. His episode is now up on YouTube. So some great shows to check out, and I encourage you to check it out. Again, if you tuned in late, the trivia question is, in case you missed it, who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor? Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor. If you know the answer, give me a call, 203-265-6310. And we will, again, if you do win or know the answer and you haven't won in the past, you are more than, you'd be more than happy and entitled to getting an OpenMike mug if you want, and we can either mail it to you, you can pick it up, but we'll address it if we get an answer. So far, 21 minutes into the program, we haven't had any guesses. So I don't know if anyone out there is Google searching the answer. I don't know if you could even find it on Google, but give me a call if you know the answer to the question. I want to quickly mention a friend of mine and weekly caller to OpenMike, Tom Dacey, wanted to have me mention on his annual Tommy Palooza, Talking with Tommy Palooza. It's the 7th annual benefit charity. It's actually coming up Saturday, November 3rd, 12 to 5 p.m. at J. Rue's Restaurant in North Haven, Connecticut. And this is a charitable event. It's going to be live music, raffles, silent auctions, food, cash bar. So I guess if you want more information, let's see, more information, you could go to, I guess you can contact J. Rue's in North Haven, and I guess food will be provided by J. Rue's and Tata's Restaurant in Wallingford. So just wanted to quickly make that announcement for everyone out there. I went last year. It was a great time. I will be there in attendance this year, you know, specifically for the cash bar, but that's just me. All right, let's get to local news now. And we will start with a thing that we don't normally hear about here in Connecticut, but it happened yesterday actually in Maine. It was felt as you know, south as Connecticut, and if I didn't give the hint away already, it was a earthquake. A 4.6 magnitude earthquake hit southern Maine yesterday. I believe it was around 7:30 p.m., and it was felt as far south as Connecticut. I didn't feel anything, but I know a lot of people, especially on Facebook, said that they felt something, and obviously caused a little bit of panic. But and if you recall, I think about 2-3 years ago, there was a earthquake felt as far north as Connecticut, which took place down in, I think it was Washington, D.C., Virginia, and it felt, you can feel it all the way up north, which was more of a, I remember that one. That one actually felt a lot like a earthquake. You know, you felt the tremors. You know, you saw the TV monitors or your computer monitors shaking back and forth. Where this one yesterday, if you didn't know about it, you probably wouldn't even have known that there was an earthquake. So if by chance you were anywhere in Connecticut yesterday, you felt the earthquake and you want to call and tell us about it, you can certainly call. The phone lines are open to talk about whatever. Interesting story going on for all you Dalai Lama fans. Dalai Lama is set to speak tomorrow and Friday at Western Connecticut State University in Danbury. Both shows, both events are sold out. I think Western Connecticut, or WestCon as they call it, is having a live video stream of the event in case you're not able to make it. But I believe they hold 3,500 seats in their auditorium, and both shows, from what I see, are sold out. Pretty cool that the Dalai Lama is here in Connecticut. I don't know why he chose Connecticut or Danbury or what. I don't know if he's addressing, you know, college students, and that's his gig, if you will. But needless to say, pretty cool that the Dalai Lama is here in town. I tried to get him on the show actually, but there was a little language barrier between our people and his. But we'll try to get him on next time he comes down in Connecticut. All right, so two interesting stories. Now, for all of you Trail of Terror fans here in Connecticut, and I've been to the Trail of Terror each and every year. And yes, we know. We actually, this past weekend, there was a traffic jam, if you will, that I've never seen in a long time. That occurred here on Route 5 near Wallingford, where you turn to go towards the P&A Park where the Trail of Terror is. And at first, upon driving down Route 5, it was Saturday night about 7 o'clock, I thought there was just a massive accident that was causing this enormous backup. And then upon slowly creeping up further and further, I realized all the cars were turning towards P&A Park. And I've never seen such a commotion for an event. I mean, I've seen traffic like that for like an Oakdale theater, show. But my hat's off to the Trail of Terror staff and everyone involved, and every fan of the Trail of Terror for having to endure, hours and hours of battling traffic, parking, getting in line, waiting in line, and going through the event. I'm sure from start to finish, it was easily a 3-4 hour wait. Maybe even longer, but if you, by chance, were in this cluster of traffic and commotion this past Saturday night, and you want to call in and tell me about it, give me a call, 203-265-6310, and I'd love to hear about it, because I haven't seen that much commotion and traffic since, I was trying to get into the studio here tonight, and I was, fighting off my fans. But my producer Pat, he can attest to that, because he was helping me get in the studio. With that being said, we're going to get to our very first caller of the evening. Phone lines have been slow tonight, so let's hope that this sparks them and gets them ready to go. Good evening, caller. You're live and open mic.
Hey.
Yes, hello.
Hey, I can confirm that traffic jam that you're talking about from this past weekend of the Trail of Terror. Considering the fact that I worked there, and Saturday we actually sold out before we even opened. The line went all the way from our main gate up the road into P&A Park, around P&A Park, and it probably have to we have to close the line down at some point so we can actually, we're having too many people show up in line.
Are you? Did you say you're a volunteer there?
Yeah.
Now, what time do the volunteers have to show up? And have you ever had a time where you were trying to get there and you had to battle traffic?
Well, we get there before people start showing up, although, you get there at 5 o'clock and there's actually like 1 or 2 people standing at the gate. Okay.
Well, so you're saying that Saturday night's event at the Trail of Terror was sold out before the lines even opened?
Yeah, this Saturday, I believe it was Saturday, it was like that. I mean, it was 7 o'clock, we're getting ready to get to our seats before people come through, and there was already a monster line.
Now, I thought I heard this, and I could be wrong, you'd probably know better. Was the show or the event Friday and Sunday night also sold out?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were all good nights for us. We had a lot of people come through, got a lot of good scares, and good feedback from the customers. They like what we're doing.
And for anyone out there that doesn't know about it, what all the profits or proceeds is for charity, right?
Yeah, the money we raise, we help out charities locally around town, both from Wallingford, Meriden, all the surrounding communities.
Okay. Yeah, I actually contacted, I don't recall the owners or the founder's name, but I would have loved to have him come on, but I'm sure with the season and how busy it is, it's probably hard to have him break away. But if you happen to talk to him, by all means, the invite to come on the Open Mic Show and talk about it is always he's always welcome.
Yep.
Well, thank you for calling in, caller. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. Well, there you go. I mean, 3 nights, as the caller alluded to, of just nonstop sold-out performances. I mean, I almost just parked the car and wrote it out Saturday night because I didn't know what else to do. And once I realized what was going on, I was able to bypass traffic. But anyway, let's get to next caller here. See, we're not going to get to our next caller. What we're going to do now it is half past the show, and if our technical director, Mike, is ready, we're going to take a quick PSA break. And when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get to more local news. I have a lot of sports news to get to, in addition to a bloody tampon story that you won't want to miss. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Open Mic.
Some risks are obviously not worth taking.
Watch where you're going!
Some aren't as obvious, but could be just as deadly, like the risk for type 2 diabetes, especially if you're over 45 or overweight. Take the diabetes risk test. It's free and takes less than a minute. Type 2 diabetes is one risk you can't afford to take. So stop diabetes before it stops you.
When you're finished with your food or beverage cartons, toss it in the recycling bin. Because every carton is recyclable and can be turned into useful paper products. Put your carton in the bin with your other recyclables and let them start a new life. When the contents are gone, let the carton live on. Recycle your cartons.
We are America's swim team, united by goggle marks,
dry skin,
and webbed feet.
Separated by seconds,
Bound by friendships.
We have superhuman powers, superhuman lungs,
Superhuman strength. And we love
that after the chlorine wears off
and the water drains from our ears.
we are still America's swim team.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
We are America's swim team.
He serves his party best who serves the country best. Rutherford B. Hayes.
Patriotism is easy to understand in America. It means looking out for yourself by looking out for your country. Calvin Coolidge.
Government is the people's business, and every man, woman, and child becomes a shareholder with the first penny of tax paid. Ronald Reagan.
There's nothing wrong in America that can't be fixed of what is right in America. William Clinton.
Be the we now.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Open Mic. I am your host, Michael Cuomo. As always, we are back with our second half of the program, and I encourage you again to call in 203-265-6310. During the break, we actually got a call, which I put on hold, and the caller's name is Laura, correct? Laura, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Laura, you were calling in reference to the Trail of Terror, and why don't you tell the viewers out there, from what I gathered, you were in attendance.
Yes, I couldn't believe it. I hadn't gone in the last 5 years, ever since I was a senior in high school, and I could not believe all the people. We got there 45 minutes before the gates opened, and we were in line for 4 hours and 15 minutes in the general admission. I tried to get speed passes, and they sold out a week ahead of time.
So you were in line 4 hours and 15 minutes before you even got into the actual event itself, where you go through all the mazes.
Right, yeah. I do have to say, I give them a lot of credit. They kept the guests and everybody entertained with game shows going on and then dancing on the top. I thought that was really cool.
Right.
Best advice I can give to anyone, try to get speed passes. I already saw on Facebook that they're already sold out Friday and Saturday night for this weekend. Get them ahead of time, because it's better to wait an hour rather than 4 hours in the freezing cold.
Right. Well,
it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, I went a few weeks back, and I really enjoyed it. It seems like every year they just get better and better, but I think the more popular they become as the years go on, they might have to open up more than just a month. They might have to, open up maybe in late September through November.
Right, yeah, and spread it out. They said last year, one of the guards there said they had over 20,000 people.
Wow. Well, that's
crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy, and it's great that they're making all this money for charity, so our hats off to them. Well, thank you very much for calling.
No problem.
All right, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go. Wow. So I guess the gist of the story is, if you are looking to go to the Trail of Terror, to get your speed pass ahead of time so you're not waiting, as Laura was saying, over 4 hours in line before you even go through the actual event itself. So that is the basis of the whole story here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, if you tuned in late, or maybe you didn't, but you just don't know the answer, I guess I have a good trivia question this week because no one's gotten it yet. Who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor? If you do know the answer, give me a call, 203-265-6310. At stake is an open mic with Michael Cuomo coffee mug, which is priceless. All right, with that being said, let's get to our next caller. Good evening, caller. You're live on Open Mic.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Michael. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. McCarver. How are you?
Good, good. You're bringing back nice memories for me with the Trail of Terror.
Oh, yeah.
We used to go. It used to be before it moved to where it was a P&A Park. It used to be across from Sabbaticals on Route 5.
Oh, okay.
And then they just got too big for that location, so they found the location down by P&A Park.
Was it outdoors?
Wayne Barneschi is the proprietor of it. He's the mastermind behind the Trail of Terror.
What was his name again?
Wayne Barneschi.
Wayne Barneschi, okay.
Barneschi, I think is his last name. And I know he has a pretty good relationship with the station.
Oh, okay.
He had him on years ago, and I know he's been on with other people at WPAA. So he's a good guy, and it's it's a year-round effort for him. I mean, it's just it's so scary, but they're so dedicated, the volunteers and everything, and the fact that all the money goes to charity because they make a ton of money.
I was going to say the amount of money they make in 1 month is what most people make in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He used to, originally when he had it, he used to give it to the Red Cross in town, and then when they closed up shop, he just gives it to various charities in town now, so he does a good job.
For the record, Ed, are you still a regular attendee of this event?
Say again?
Are you a regular attendee of the Trail of Terror, or do you...
No. The last couple of times I went, they tried to hire me as a zombie, and I wasn't even in makeup or anything, so...
Oh, okay. Well, hey,
And they well, no, I don't want to say anything about Maureen because she's with me here now.
Oh, okay. You're chickened out now, huh?
Yeah.
Maureen, you should have heard what he said last week about you.
One thing I wanted to mention, you alluded to it earlier. I actually turned the jet game off on Sunday for about 20 minutes because I watched this Felix Baumgarten, the guy that did the jump from somebody had Facebooked me and said it was on the Discovery Channel, so I actually turned the jet game off and watched it, and it was an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the aerial footage of him coming down. It looked just like a little fly just kind of drifting down.
Yeah.
800 miles an hour.
Oh, it actually was scary, and to see him spinning around like that, I said,
yeah.
Oh my, I just...
That's the biggest obstacle, I guess, is just the spinning and hopefully getting vertical so when you're about to land,
Yeah.
But
and luckily everything turned out okay. But
it was quick, wasn't it, from start to finish?
Say again?
Wasn't it a quick, from start to finish? I don't think it was more than, a few minutes?
No, actually, I think he was in free fall. I think he was in free fall for like 4 minutes.
Okay.
And then he deployed the chute, and then I think it was another 5 minutes before he hit the earth.
So it's about a 9-minute journey, which...
Yeah, right. By the time he jumped out of the capsule, it was 9 minutes before he hit the ground. 39 kilometers into space. That's amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. I also wanted to mention, and I, like you, I'm not that much of a political junkie, but I think Romney is doing great in these debates.
Yeah.
He won the first one hands down, and I think he won last night. And I think just, if you had asked me 6 months ago, I thought Obama would be, maybe not a slam dunk, but I think he would win.
Right.
No, I'm not so sure.
Plus, I didn't even talk about the vice presidential debate last week with Joe Biden laughing and smiling the whole time. People really were turned off by that.
Yeah.
Especially women voters.
I think so too, and I kind of like Joe Biden, but it didn't come across that well.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm very entertained by the debates, and I think there's one tomorrow night. Linda McMahon and Chris Murphy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, somebody's gonna hit somebody with a chair before that.
Yeah, that's getting pretty ugly, huh?
Yeah, and I think they're having their last one tomorrow night. So.
Yeah, that's a very tight race. I thought the last poll I heard Murphy was up by 3 points.
Yeah, so. It's real close, and I it's really an ugly race.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just politics. It is what it is, what irks me is the amount of money they spend on their campaigns.
I don't know this much, and I'm going to listen next week for Mr. Brashan, but as far as I can see, the only race that I think has two really classy people is Len Fasano versus Steve Fontana from North Haven. I happen to know both gentlemen, and they're both class acts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice.
Speaking of class acts, I ran into a good friend of yours, John Sullivan, this evening.
Oh, yes.
We ran into each other at dinner at a local establishment.
Yep. He's gave me my start in public access. So John is a good friend.
Yep.
And again, a good councilman. So
yeah. Well,
all right. That's it for me. I'll be having a few extra adult beverages or should I say, when the Jets beat the Patriots.
I hope so. Now, before I let you go, do you know the answer to the trivia question? Do you want to take
Actually, I do, but I want to disqualify myself because I am a past winner, and if the OpenMike mug was filled with my favorite adult beverage, I might consider it. But I do want to disqualify myself as.
Is your favorite adult beverage Sex on the Beach or no?
Say again?
Is your favorite adult beverage Sex on the Beach, for the record?
It's Bud Light, and you're cutting out just a bit, Michael. I can't.
Am I all right? Let me. I'll turn up the volume just a little. Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, it's like a Verizon commercial.
Yeah. Right.
Well, thank you so much for the call, Ed.
All right, Michael. You have yourself a good night.
All right, take care.
See you later. Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to move on here. We are already practically running out of time. I don't know where time goes, but real quick, we were talking about the Trail of Terror. I just want to quickly mention one last thing before we get to sports and then news of the weird. The Travel Channel has named Lake Cowpounce's Haunted Graveyard as one of the scariest Halloween thrills in the country. We have some boos here from the audience. I kind of disagree with that. I think the Trail of Terror is one of the scariest Halloween thrills in the country, but that's just me. So, all right, we are actually. Let me get to this one last thing. We talked about her past couple shows. Former WWF/WWE diva Tammy Sitch, who was known as Sunny, is actually heading to rehab in Pennsylvania on the company's dime, and the rehab center is, as I just said, in Pennsylvania, and this is all stemming from her being in and out of trouble with the police, breaking into her ex-boyfriend's house, been arrested 5 times in the last month, and actually she has a court appearance tomorrow morning in New Haven to see whether or not the judge will allow her to be extradited, if you will, or moved to Pennsylvania in order to have rehab, again, at the expense of the WWE, which is very nice of them. So we shall see what happens with Tammy Sitch. Hopefully she gets her act together. All right, let's move on now, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you want to try and answer the trivia question, who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor? Give me a call, 203-265-6310. We only have about 15 minutes left, so if there's no answer or no winner, I'll give you the answer at the end of the show. Let's get to sports, and then we will get to some news of the weird to end the show. Let's get to the NFL picks. I usually do this every week. Last week, I took the Atlanta Falcons, giving 9.5 favorites against the Raiders. Atlanta Falcons won, but they only won by 3. I lost, which I am sad to say. My record on the year is an impressive 4-2, which I'll take. And with that being said, I'm going to give you this week's NFL pick, and I'm going to take, coming off a bye week, plus it's a divisional game, this was a no-brainer pick for me after looking at all the schedules and all the lines. The New Orleans Saints, minus 2.5 point favorites against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going with the New Orleans Saints as my Week 7 NFL pick. I think it's already Week 7. All right, mark it down so you know. Let's get to our next caller real quick. Good evening, caller. You're live on Open Mic.
Hey, Mike, how are you? It's John calling in.
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
Good, good. We're all watching your show, like every Wednesday.
All right, I'd love to hear that.
All right.
What else would you do on a Wednesday night?
I want to answer your trivia question.
You do, huh? All right, just to recap, who was Wallingford, Connecticut's very first mayor? And the answer is?
I don't know, but I know the year.
You don't know the mayor's name?
1962 was the year.
Okay,
I have a mug anyway.
Well, that wasn't the question, though. The question was, who was the very first mayor, not the year, John.
Yeah.
You know, I might send you a mug anyway, but we'll talk about that after the show, all right? But anything else on your mind? I know you're a big Red Sox fan.
Presidential debate last night.
Presidential debate, okay. What'd you think about it?
Well, I was too busy watching the Yankees losing, so I won.
Okay. Yankees are down 3-0 in the series, and I know they're playing right now as we speak. Do you have a score on the Yankee game?
I think the winner of the debate was Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Okay, that's the score of the game, I guess. Thank you. Well, I appreciate the call, Johnny. We're going to
thanks a lot.
Move along. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, so again, the New Orleans Saints -2.5 is my NFL pick this week. And speaking of NFL, the upcoming Super Bowl halftime show and set to perform at halftime will be Beyonce, in case anyone cared. So, all right, with that being said, let's get to our next caller. Good evening, caller. You're live on the Open Mic Show.
Yes, Mike. I believe it's Mayor Joseph Carini.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Close. Very close, though.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for trying. I think Joseph Carini, and I could have this wrong, I thought he was, I want to say he might have been the second mayor, but he wasn't the first. Very first mayor of Wallingford was not Joseph Carini. A very good guess, though. If you know the answer, give me a call, 203-265-6310. As I was just saying, Beyonce is set to perform at this year's coming Super Bowl. And finishing up in the NFL realm of the news here, if you happen to miss Monday night's NFL game between the Denver Broncos and the San Diego Chargers, reason I bring it up is Peyton Manning, an all-time great, showed one of the greatest NFL comebacks in a while, possibly in the history of the NFL, but you know that's up for debate. Chargers were up 24-0 at halftime, and the Broncos came back to win 35-24. Not all of it was Peyton Manning, and a lot of it had to do with the defense, but you can never count Peyton Manning out, and it was nice to see the old Peyton Manning back, you know, the way he was playing, the way he was reading defenses. It was really, really a great game in case you missed it. So, all right, all done with NFL, Major League playoffs. Again, big news this whole week. New York Yankees. They're down 3-0 against the Detroit Tigers. They are on the verge of being swept in the American League Championship Series since the year I was born, 1980. If anyone has the score, I don't have my iPhone in front of me. If anyone knows the Yankees score right now and you want to call it in, give me a call. And as of showtime tonight, the other series between the San Francisco Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals was taking place. I believe the Cardinals are winning 3-1. Again, I don't know the final score. If anybody has it, give me a call. That series is tied 1 game each. But again, now the St. Louis Cardinals are a team that nobody really predicts every year to win. But here they are, last year, World Series champions, this year on the verge of going back to the World Series, and nobody gives them a shot. So a really incredible story. Let's get to another quick caller. Good evening, caller. You're live on Open Mic.
Hi. Could the right answer be Mayor William Bertini?
Yes, it is. Yes, let's give her a round of applause. William Bertini, yes. Wallingford's very first mayor. May I have your first name, caller?
Barbara.
Barbara, and where are you calling from?
Wallingford.
Wallingford, okay. Well, I congratulate you on getting the trivia question correct. You were the only person to get it correct, and in response to your great effort, I will have an open mic mug for you if you want to contact the show, which is on the website or on the TV screen there, or we can leave a mug for you here at the studio. All right?
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you for calling.
With your show.
Thank you very much. Take care. Mayor William Bertini was the very first mayor of Wallingford, and I believe it was, as John said, 1962. So Barbara got the trivia question right. Thank God, because we were running out of time. So if she wants to go on Facebook.com, she could contact the show, or she can call the studio here. We'll leave a mug for her, and hopefully she can enjoy the open mic mug. So congratulations. All right. I think we're all done with, oh yeah, no, we're not all done with sports, because I forgot to talk about one very important person, A-Rod. A-Rod, as far as we can probably know and say confidently, you have seen him play his last game as a New York Yankee. The odds are that he will be traded to either the Florida Marlins or the LA Dodgers once the season's over. The biggest thing with A-Rod is not only is he not hitting in the series against Detroit when he does play, as we all know, Joe Girardi's been benching him, has been getting, pinch hitters to take over for him. The big story is A-Rod a couple nights ago during the Yankees game, I think it was game number 2, losing to Detroit, and what A-Rod does is finds one of the bat boys or ball boys and has him go out to these two, distinguished looking female fans in the, one of the front rows, and bring a ball to them asking what's their number. And this is just absolutely poor taste from one of the highest paid players in baseball during a time of crisis where your team is on the verge of losing a series, and his head, no pun intended, it's not in the right place. So he's getting a lot of heat for trying to go after these two females rather than focusing on the game. And I don't care what people say. He can say that it doesn't bother him that he's not playing. He's all about the team winning. But I certainly beg to differ. So let's get to another quick call here. Good evening, caller. You're live on Open Mic.
Hi, yeah, you're talking about A-Rod. Do you know if he's still dating that ex-wrestler Tori Wilson? Because he's flirting with these girls. So do you know if he's broken up? Do you have any news about that?
No, as I know, he is still dating Tori Wilson. So that's a whole other can of worms. I mean, she obviously is now finding out. And the other thing I was going to say about A-Rod is he, yesterday at the game, when the camera was on him in the dugout, was saying, "Hi, Mom," to the camera, which is another thing that they're blowing out of proportion. But I wouldn't say that we're blowing this out of proportion when he's sending a ball boy to these female fans asking them for their number. I think A-Rod certainly knows his career is over as a New York Yankee. But yes, he is still dating Tori Wilson. We probably will see in the news that that's not going to be lasting much longer once she finds out about this.
Yeah, and the game is rain delayed because it's not raining technically, but the rain is coming, so they don't want the pitchers out until the rain passes. So the game hasn't started yet.
The Yankee game is a rain delay. Okay. Any score on the Giants-Cardinals game? Do you know?
Oh, hold on.
That score, yeah. I'd like to know that because the series was tied at 1 game apiece, and as of the show, as I was saying, when I came on, it was 3-1 Cardinals.
No, I don't know the score of that game.
Okay, well, no problem. We'll see it after the show. But thank you very much for calling.
All right, bye.
Take care, caller. All right, we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to unfortunately not take any more calls. The phone lines are shut down. And I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to talk here about what I wanted to get to. So let me just kind of wrap things up and say that next Wednesday night, again, my special guest here on Open Mic will be Greg Bichon, Republican state rep candidate for the 85th District, who's running against Mary Mashinsky. So be sure to watch next Wednesday night and call in. And then the following Wednesday night, we'll have our Halloween show. Just to quickly, wrap things up here with this A-Rod thing, as the caller was just mentioning, he is dating Tori Wilson. He's out flirting with girls in the stands, having the bat boy deliver a baseball to them, asking for their number, in the midst of his team, losing and basically being out of the series. So it just looks like very poor judgment on A-Rod's behalf. And last night when they had shots of the dugout and they were kind of videotaping all the players, he was waving "Hi, Mom" to one of the cameras. So just a very immature, he's basically, from what I can see, waving the white flag and throwing it in, realizing that his career as a New York Yankee is over. And it all started with him not hitting. So I don't know, is it a steroid related thing? I mean, he lied to everyone about his steroid use, and we all know the story from there. But he certainly isn't the A-Rod that we've known years ago. He's not the old A-Rod. He is certainly a washed up A-Rod, to say the least. So that's all I have on the A-Rod story. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And I guess I have to get to the bloody tampon story before we go off the air, because I mentioned it during the second part of the show when we came back. A mom and daughter in Texas, believe it or not, were involved in a bizarre dispute that basically caused the police to get called out. It was a domestic violence situation. The mom was upset that her daughter left a used bloody tampon on the bathroom counter, and on the bathroom countertop, and never, threw it away in its proper container. And the daughter charged at her mom saying, "BITCH, I am going to kill you." True story, ladies and gentlemen. So this totally escalated into a crazy situation. Police were called, and now it made national news headlines. So I certainly can't relate to either one of these stories, but needless to say, it was a very, very, sticky situation. But all right, with that being said, I hope I didn't offend anyone, or anyone's having dinner right now and is about to vomit. Anyway, next week, I want to quickly remind you, Greg Bichon is my special guest. 2 weeks from tonight, we have our Halloween show. The credits are off, but again, go to facebook.com/OpenMikeTV, and you can go on youtube.com/OpenMike80 to watch YouTube videos that are posted on there. Tonight's show will probably be up there tomorrow or Friday. And also WPAA.tv will bring you all of the replays of the Open Mic show, where you can also watch on there. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. It was a quick show. I apologize I didn't get to more news than I had, but we had a lot of great calls. We had a lot of good stories to talk about, and we'll try to get to some other news that I didn't get to tonight, maybe next week with Greg on. But I want to thank Technical Director Mike in the back. I want to thank Producer Pat. I want to thank all the callers and Barbara for getting tonight's trivia question correct. And for everyone here at the Open Mic panel and set, I'm your host, Michael Cuomo, and I will see you next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock with special guest Greg Bichon. Till then, everyone, good night. Be safe.